40-point wins. Not a whole lot to really dive into deep there. I noticed in the first quarter, DeAndre hit 1 3, and then 2, and then 3, and there was a timeout, and you were jumping up and down and like really talking up with the coaches. What was going on there in that moment?
I mean, I'm just so glad how aggressive he's being. Right, he's not just trying to fit in. Like he's really came in to our team with force and kind of imposed his will on both ends. Like I said, sometimes after a trade, guys just want to fit in. They don't want to step on anybody's toes. He's just struck the right balance. I'm just thrilled. Again, both ends, right? It's the made shots, but it's also he's a big reason why we slowed them down and had a great defensive effort.
I'm sure you could point to a time or two this season where it's not true, but it seems like the ball never really sticks on your team. Like you guys are always moving. How do you avoid that? How do you stay away from the dribble pound stuff that guys?
I mean, we constantly. I would say all our principles of play offensively start with that, right? And whether it's cutting or a pick and roll, like how quickly can we make our decisions on a closeout? How quick can we make the decision? If we don't have it, we swing it. So I just think it's in everything we do. We preach it. We preach it in film. And then, Joe, as you know, our skill level is super high, right? You could say you want to move it, but you got to make the right decision when you move it, right? And I think that's where our skill level and our IQ really shows out. It's mostly our skill level, but also our principles of play. These guys are buying in.
And then the last one for me, I know he's forced into it because Darius is out for a little bit, but what do you like about Donovan, the point guard?
Love it. I love. He's got command of the game, right? And I think he enjoys those moments where he calls the play. He's the quarterback, and it's funny when he's out there. With Darius, I call a ton when Don's out there. He wants to call every play. So we have this little tug of war, but I love it. I mean, he sees stuff I don't see. Sometimes I see stuff he doesn't see, but he wants control of that, of what we're doing, and it's great.
Appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Kenny, why is DeAndre just such a good fit for you guys?
I mean, you saw the defense tonight, Chris. The offense is almost a bonus, although I know in Atlanta he was having a great offensive year, but he just listen. You saw it, Banchero and Wagner tonight. He gets switched on them. He can hold them up. He can defend them. He gets Wendell Carter on him. He can hold them up and defend them. He defends 1 through 5. Those guys are invaluable, and he does it intelligently, right? He doesn't foul. He's in the right position. Gets great contests. Real credit to his background, right? UVA, Tony Bennett. Like when you get guys from elite programs like that, his fundamentals are on both ends are excellent.
So you didn't have Darius tonight. Donovan had one of his lowest scoring games of the season, and you win by 40. What does that say about this team?
Yeah, and it's what everybody scores. That was kind of cool. Kind of what me, Joe asked. Like we have a great. We move it quickly. We move it up the floor quickly in transition. In a half court, we make quick decisions. Everybody touches it. It's a fun style of play, and it creates a lot of open looks. And then, of course, like I told you, our skill level is super high. To be able to, you gotta have high skill level to play that way.
James.
Coach, back during training camp at IMG, you guys put this thing together, and the defense is coming together. Tonight, we saw that. Talk a little bit about the defense.
Yeah, I mean, if I take one thing out of this game, it was our defensive performance. I mean, just how we switched. It was we switched 1 through 5 a lot. I thought our rim protection between J.A. and Evan was phenomenal. Was it the third quarter there? I thought they got to the rim 3-4 times. They just couldn't finish on Jared. So we kind of have all the pieces now with adding DeAndre. Now you got Ice, you got Isaac, you got Dean. It's like I always joke, the way to get a great defense is have great defensive personnel. So it's not strategy. It's really we put together a group that can really defend.
Coach, I know you weren't here yet, but the last time the Cavaliers were in this building was Game 6 of the first round last year, ended in a loss. But now you come in and you give the Magic their largest loss of the season. What kind of confidence does these dominant wins instill, especially with Boston coming up in this regular season finale?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, humble in victory. They don't have Suggs. Let's face it, he's a big part of what they do. When he gets healthy, it's a different team. So I don't think we get too high. I think, we obviously we're playing well, and we said in the locker room. Now the next test is Boston. See if we can keep our standards high and go in there and get a win.
Coach, you guys have a pretty good lead over Boston, and are you guys thinking about like the #1 seed at this point? I know we're kind of in the stretch of the season. Do you think about, do you want to be the #1 seed? Do you think about matchups in the playoffs, or that's something that you're just focusing on winning games?
Yeah, we don't talk about it. Focusing on winning games. We don't really talk about the record. I will say I look at the standings to see, hey, who's going to be a potential first round matchups, but that's more from a coaching perspective. But we don't talk about it with the players at all.
Last one, Joe.
I don't know if you remember this. At home after the last Boston game, you had a pretty interesting back and forth with Jason about you coach, you don't hide anything against opponents you might see in the playoffs. You were saying that you want your guys to work on stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think you've lost since then. I think you've won 8 in a row, and this team is playing so well. Going into the last game against Boston in the regular season, do you think about playing it a little vanilla, not showing what you might show?
No, I don't think we're at that level. We still got to prove we can beat them. Beat them in their play. So I think we go in there and kind of guns a-blazing. We got to go for the win, whatever it takes, and throw everything at them. And then after that game, we'll kind of surmise, hey, what can we do in the playoffs? But we're not gonna hold anything back.
Real last one, Chris.
Kenny, speaking of that, how much does it matter to you to beat Boston?
Listen, for our belief, we're obviously a confident team, but the OKCs, the Bostons, the Memphises, you want to test yourself. The Orlandos, I'll put Orlando in that group. You want to see where you are, and Boston is the cream. Let's face it, they're playing great, defending champions. This is like a perfect time. This is going to be really fun test for us and a good challenge. But I'm interested to see where we measure up again against them. All right.
Thank you, Coach.